Coming up on Chapman News, Israel continues to target Hezbollah with attacks on Lebanon today, as world leaders at the United Nations weigh in on the consequences of the escalating conflict.
Also just ahead, Orange County supervisors vote to censor one of their own. We'll tell you about the allegations of misspending involving millions of taxpayer dollars.
I'm Angela Hara, live outside of Orange County's Mosquito and Vector Control District. And a bug bite doesn't seem so safe this time around. Coming up, I'll tell you how you can stay safe. That story, plus your weather and sports, coming up on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Stephen Hogenkamp.
And I'm Kiara Digavea. We begin today with the escalating conflict in the Middle East.
As world leaders gather today in the United Nations in New York, Israel continues its strike aimed at the terrorist group Hezbollah in Lebanon. This video is from an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon yesterday. It is reported that over 500 people have been killed, with more than 90 of the victims being women and children. The strikes yesterday resulted in the deadliest day Lebanon has seen in 2 decades. The country is still reeling from the deadly attacks on communication devices last week. In an address yesterday, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has a message for the people of Lebanon.
I say to the people of Lebanon, our war is not with you, our war is with Hezbollah.
World leaders are concerned that the escalating conflict in Lebanon could impact efforts to reach a ceasefire in Gaza.
And now, an update on the 2024 presidential election. Both candidates continue their focus on swing states, with Vice President Kamala Harris scheduled to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tomorrow, and former President Donald Trump in Savannah, Georgia today. While campaigning in swing state Pennsylvania yesterday, Trump sought to raise doubts about the integrity of early voting, despite previously encouraging his supporters to get their ballots in early.
Now we have this stupid stuff where you can vote 45 days early. I wonder what the hell happens during that 45. Let's move see these votes? We've got about 1 million votes in there. Let's move them. We're fixing the air conditioner in the room, right? No, it's terrible. What happened the last time was disgraceful.
Meanwhile, immigration remains a key factor in the 2024 race, and Harris is reportedly going to pay a visit to the U.S.-Mexico border this Friday.
With just 42 days until Election Day, both candidates are focusing on young voters in their push to win the White House. Our reporters Ben Sherman and Nathaniel Rudolph took a look at how students here at Chapman are working to get the vote out.
They taunted young people.
As the 2024 election draws closer, many college students are preparing to vote for the very first time. Here at Chapman, the on-campus Republican group, Chapman University Republicans, is leading the effort for the GOP.
It's a social and civil or active club to get people out, like-minded individuals to connect, a Republican on the campus, to talk to each other, to get internships, opportunities, get out there, vote.
Meanwhile, the Chapman Democrats are focused on pushing for voter registration, with no regard for students' political affiliation.
You need to get out there and vote, and our goal here is to teach people the process in which voting happens, get them ready to vote, and then eventually get them out to the polls.
We don't push you to vote left or to vote any other way. We just want to educate you.
With the political climate more charged than ever, many students at Chapman are thinking about how they can make a difference. Voter turnout among young voters aged 18 to 29 has been steadily increasing, with the 2020 election seeing an 11% increase from 2016. Both parties are looking to capitalize on this momentum.
I feel very confident in Kamala Harris to be our next president of the United States, but I still feel like that even though she is beating Trump, it's still very neck and neck in terms of polling numbers. But then also we thought that Hillary would beat Trump too in 2016, and we kind of jumped the gun a little. And so I think we just need to be cautious.
In 2016, when he was elected, he proved himself in a very, very, very politically charged atmosphere. And I think that, yeah, he appeals to a lot of younger voters. The U.S. has been at war. You know, there's been attacks everywhere. We have a serious mental health problem in this country. Like, he's talking about those and addressing those.
While both political groups are working hard to engage student voters, Chapman political science professor Fred Smoller explains the overall political landscape on most college campuses tends to lean in one direction.
For the most part, younger people don't participate, and my experience is that when they do participate, it is for the Democrats. For the campus seems to be more liberal than conservative, probably 70-30 at best.
Smoller says as we approach the election, knowledge is anyone's strongest asset. He notes this is especially important for young voters to make informed decisions, to use their voices to be a part of history.
This is the election of a lifetime. Democracy really is on the ballot, and it's very, very important that people take interest in what's going on.
This is Ben Sherman reporting for Chapman News.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that places new restrictions on social media apps, with the aim of protecting kids from getting addicted. The law places new limits on notifications and also algorithms for social media feeds of users aged 16 and younger. Newsom said in a statement, every parent knows the harm social media addiction can inflict on their children. Isolation from human contact, stress and anxiety, and endless hours wasted late into the night.
California is also taking steps to regulate AI and combat deepfakes. Chapman News reporter Reese Velez has the story.
Do you want to sign some laws?
California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed new bills tackling deepfakes, digitally manipulated images, video, or audio created by AI. Chapman University senior research scientist Anna Alber agrees AI needs to be regulated.
There is an agreement that we need to have guardrails, that it needs to be safe, and we need to protect the public. But how to do that, the details of it, this is where people disagree.
Deepfakes appear to be real, and in some of the worst cases have been used for blackmail and revenge porn. They have also been seen in this presidential election, with deepfakes of Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris and running mate Tim Walz being widely shared. Part of the problem, Albert says anyone can make a high-quality deepfake.
AI made it possible for people who are not really in technology, they're not in computer science, to make very high-quality fakes. And they can do it very quickly with very little content. And this is a great concern.
The new AI bills require online platforms to remove deceptive political deepfakes, protect actors and performers from being replaced by AI models, and require election advertisements to disclose whether they use AI-generated content. City of Orange Police Department spokesman Lieutenant Phil McMullen says it's important that people report deepfake scams and know how to protect themselves online.
Just because you see it on social media doesn't mean it's true. Look for things that come from official sources and just do your best investigation before you think that it is going to be an accurate image, video, or even a sound.
Some free speech groups and social media platforms say they will challenge the new laws. This is Reese Velez reporting for Chapman News.
The OC Board of Supervisors formally censured embattled 1st District Supervisor Andrew Doe today. The Orange County Register reports the vote was unanimous and that the supervisors publicly criticized Doe for, quote, reckless and unethical conduct. Several board members have called on Doe to resign, and they recently removed him from all committee assignments. Orange County lawyers are accusing Doe of misusing millions of taxpayer dollars. According to a lawsuit filed last month, Doe is accused of directing over $13 million to the Viet America Society, or VAS, which is a nonprofit public health corporation. Lawyers say that the money was originally intended to feed the elderly during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, prosecutors say it was instead used by VAS executives, including Doe's daughter, as, quote, their own personal banking accounts, including the purchase of a home by Doe's daughter.
Huntington Beach is taking California to court on the issue of gender identity reporting in public schools. Governor Newsom signed a law this past summer that prevents school districts from notifying parents when their child changes their gender identity. Huntington Beach argues that the law violates parental rights and that parents have a constitutional right to be informed about personal decisions regarding their children. The state has yet to respond to the lawsuit.
Most of us think of a mosquito bite as a minor annoyance, but in certain cases, it can be quite serious.
West Nile virus is a mosquito-borne disease which has recently been detected here in Orange County. Our Angela Hara is live outside the OC Mosquito and Vector Control Office in Garden Grove to tell us more about how we can protect ourselves from the virus.
Thanks, Kiara and Stephen. Well, the first case of West Nile virus was detected in Orange County about a month ago when a Huntington Beach resident tested positive for the virus. Experts say mid to late summer and now in early fall is when the mosquito season is at its peak and the threat is greatest. Here at OC Vector Control, we learned it's important to take precautions. Even the smallest bite from a mosquito can lead to a dangerous virus. West Nile virus was first detected in Uganda in 1937. It was first found in Orange County in 2004, transmitted by infected birds. Since then, every mosquito season has become a threat. But experts say when there are no birds around, humans are the next best thing.
They bite their favorite bird, but then there are no more birds around, and then they can come and bite a human and transmit the disease. Most people that get West Nile virus may not even know it. Some may just feel a little headachy, but a very few can get really sick, and it's not a good thing to get sick from.
This year, the first human case locally was detected in Huntington Beach, prompting the agency to spray an area covering 12,000 homes with a natural occurring bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis. It specifically attacks the larvae, thus stopping the mosquitoes from hatching and biting us. So, how can you protect yourself this season? The agency's PIO, Brian Brannon, says you should always dump standing water, but there are also several things you can do.
You want to wear long sleeve shirts, light colored, jeans or long pants, and shoes. And if you know they're out there, you can get some repellent. We recommend something with 30% DEET.
OC Vector Control urges everyone to educate themselves about the virus. Their slogan is Fight Back Orange County, noting that together we are stronger, and divided the mosquitoes are sure to bite. Brian Brannon also told me that if you do feel that your Orange County home is in danger or threatened by mosquitoes or possibly West Nile virus, to not hesitate and give the agency a call. They will come to your home at no charge at all to you and investigate and see if ensure safety for this mosquito season. I'm Angela Hara reporting from Garden Grove. Back to you.
Thanks, Angela. Coming up, we'll tell you about the new charges filed in connection with the pro-Palestinian protest at a Southern California campus earlier this year. Details coming up after the break.
I'm Cora Sinis. When we come back, we'll take a look at the rising temperatures this week in Orange, as well as the possible hurricane heading towards Florida. That plus an overview of today's national forecast coming up.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Pa?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The winners of the highly competitive Student Academy Awards were recently announced. And among the winners are two students from Dodge College here at Chapman University.
Here to tell us about their film, Aaron Johnson and Chris Cam, the director and director of photography for their documentary, The 17%. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Your film is titled The 17%. Tell us what it's about and what was the inspiration for this film.
For sure, yeah, I'll take that. So the 17% is the statistic of the amount of people who have disabilities that receive employment in the workforce. Therefore, the 83% of those people who don't have jobs, I'm sorry, let me reiterate. The 83% of people don't have jobs. So therefore, I decided to tell the story of Colette DeVito, a young woman with Down syndrome who opened her own bakery in reflection of being turned down from jobs, and now she hires other people with disabilities.
That's great, and we would love to hear more about the filmmaking process. So, Chris, what was your vision for the film's overall visual aesthetic?
Yeah, so in the months leading up to the film, Aaron and I did a lot of nights kind of talking about what we wanted, and the goal was to kind of be a fly on the wall. You know, we didn't want to interfere with Colette's life too much, and we just ended up following her around for a couple days. So just following her daily life, going to the gym, you know, baking cookies, working with her employees, hanging out with her mom. So yeah, we just wanted to authentically capture her life.
Your film, The 17%, was recently named a Student Academy Award winner. There are more than 2,700 different entries from around 700 universities from around the country and the world. How does it feel to receive such an honor?
I usually encapsulate that in 4 words, and I think the first is grateful, the second is honored, blessed, and then encouraged. I celebrate this win on behalf of those who also submitted their films and the hard work that was put into just being considered for this award. Within that recognition, it's a blessing, but it also kind of reminds me and Chris and the other Chapman community and filmmakers in general that with a little bit of luck and a lot of dedication and passion to a project, it is possible to be seen. And to have Colette's story recognized on a larger platform, it brings much joy and excitement to my life, and it also brings a more visible understanding of those who have disabilities. And I'm grateful that the greater disability community has been accepting and embracing of the film so far. So.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us today. Chris Cam and Aaron Johnson, the filmmakers behind The 17%.
President Biden addressed the United Nations today for the last time in his presidency.
After 50 years of public service, it's time for a new generation of leadership to take my nation forward. My fellow leaders, let us never forget, some things are more important than staying in power. It's your people.
Biden also spoke about AI, noting the risks including deepfakes, disinformation, and biosecurity threats. He stressed the need for new standards and said he supports a landmark General Assembly resolution on AI. Other world leaders set to address the UN this week include France's Emmanuel Macron and possibly Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Chapman University is one of the dozens of schools trying to avoid a repeat of last semester's student encampments protesting the Israel-Hamas war. Chapman student reporter Rosemary Wright has the latest.
Steve, Kiara, I'm here on Musco Lawn where earlier this year dozens of protesters set up an encampment. The protest calling on Chapman University to end investments that they say fund Israel's war in Gaza. Now the university is rejecting a new divestment proposal and limiting all on-campus protests. Scenes like this went on for weeks last spring near the center of Chapman's campus. The encampment was set up by members of the group Students for Justice in Palestine, one of the largest clubs at the school. Chapman's Board of Trustees did agree to discuss a divestment proposal from SJP, but the university recently rejected that proposal.
Our divestment proposal fell on deaf ears when they voted no against divesting. Like a couple board members, I heard them like sniffling and like crying. But, you know, ultimately, those crocodile tears don't really mean anything.
Additionally, new limits on all protests at Chapman were announced shortly before the start of the current semester. There are now limits on the use of amplified sound and also large gatherings.
There was some new activity that we hadn't really planned for from about which we received complaints from students, from faculty. But once the year ended, we said, how can we avoid these disruptions going forward? And that's what led to some of the policy changes.
SJP opposes the new restrictions. As on-campus protests continue, the university says it's determined to remain neutral. I'm Rosemary Wright, Chapman News.
The Orange County District Attorney has charged 10 protesters in connection with a pro-Palestinian protest on the UC Irvine campus in May. The 10 protesters, including 2 professors, face a misdemeanor charge of failing to disperse. The Irvine demonstration escalated on May 15th and law enforcement to be called to the scene. More than 40 people were arrested, and prosecutors say more charges may be filed.
Crossing guards will soon be back on the job at schools in the Orange Unified School District. Facing a budget crisis, the City Council dropped the guards in June as a cost-cutting measure. The lawmakers said it would save $425,000. Before school started last month, the school district and local police department hosted street safety workshops to prepare parents and students for the lack of crossing guards. But after a public outcry, the council voted to bring back crossing guards and hired a third-party vendor.
20 years after it was first proposed, construction of a controversial housing development is set to begin here in Orange County. The Irvine Company plans to build 1,180 homes as a part of the Orange Heights development. That's a far cry from the 12,000 that was originally proposed. The company also donated most of the originally intended for the development to the OC Parks, which means it will be kept as open space. Still, a community group that has been fighting the project remains opposed to it. Joel Robinson is a spokesperson for No Orange Heights.
This particular area is a major biological corridor connecting Irvine Regional Park and Peters Canyon, and it supports many special status species, including mountain lion, Least Bell's vireo, and Crotch's bumblebee. And we can't afford to lose corridors like this, especially now.
The development will be located east of Jamboree Road between Peters Canyon and Irvine Regional Parks. The Irvine Company Executive Vice President Jamie Yoshida told the OC Register, quote, "After decades of planning and community collaboration, we're pleased the Orange Heights vision is now coming to fruition."
A pedestrian bridge running over Superior Avenue in Newport Beach is set to be completed in the coming weeks. The bridge connects both Sunset Ridge Park and Sunset View Park, 2 popular sites in West Newport. The bridge will also include a new parking lot with 70 spaces for people visiting the parks. The bridge addresses the dangerous practice of some pedestrians crossing the busy 4-lane Superior Avenue to get to each park. While the bridge seems to solve this problem, some residents say that the project was not worth the cost all the time.
Very select few use this park. The park was already being used. The parking lot isn't expanded that much. So the issue of having more spaces in a whole new parking lot didn't seem that advantageous to me. I just didn't see the benefit in the cost or the time.
City officials say the construction will be finished in early October, with lighting and railing set to be complete in the coming weeks. The project was initially approved in 2019 and will cost the city government about $15.5 million. Well, Stephen, with this weather, it seems that we are in full effect. With more on this, our Cora Sinners.
Thanks, Kiara and Stephen. Temperatures are back on the rise here in Orange after last week's cooler conditions. 2 weeks ago, we experienced a heat wave. Last week, things cooled down, and this week, temperatures are back on the rise. Today, we're looking at a high of 81 here in Orange with partly cloudy skies. Now, taking a look at the national forecast, you'll see cooler temperatures across the northern regions of the country, with a high of 75 in Seattle, 76 in San Francisco, and cooler temperatures of 72, 71, and even 67 in Minneapolis, Chicago, and Detroit. Now for today's major weather story, Florida has declared a state of emergency as Tropical Storm Helene takes shape. Residents are being encouraged to prepare for the storm and even evacuate as conditions worsen. The weather seems to be sticking to the status quo here in Orange County, with temperatures highs of 78 and 81 in Orange, and cooler temperatures down at the beach with 72 and 73 in Laguna and Newport. Now looking ahead at Orange's 5-day forecast, we have pretty standard temperatures this week, a high of 81 today with a low of 62, partly cloudy skies throughout the entire week with a high of 80 tomorrow on Wednesday and highs of 78 on Thursday through Saturday. From Chapman News, this has been Cora Sinnis with your weather. Kiara and Steven, back to you.
Thank you, Cora.
Looks like your grocery store runs may look a little different this 2026 year. Paper and plastic bags will no longer be an option when you go to the grocery store. Gavin Newsom signed a bill approved a month ago that consumers will only be offered a paper bag for their groceries. The bill was signed in hopes for an overall reduction in plastic being trashed by the average American.
Coming up, I'm Ben Moscoso. We've got all the latest on the history-making moments in this week's sports. Stay tuned.
You are in the middle of a game. Adrenaline coursing through your body. And you are calling the shots. Feel the power as you control the game's narrative. From commentator to camera virtuoso, replay wizard to unyielding director. There is no better experience than being in the moment. Challenge your limits and embrace the electrifying rush that comes with the crowd's roar. You never know the epic plays you will capture and the masterpiece you could make. You could be an amateur learning on the fly or a pro wanting to expand your skills. You will always fit in. And what better place to broadcast your skills than in sports? Never knowing what is coming next and always coming across something new. Join the Chapman Sports Broadcasting Network and experience the thrill of life.
Equestrians who board their horses at the Orange County Fairgrounds say they are not backing down from their fight with fair management. 2 equestrians are suing the fairgrounds. The fair board is raising rents for boarders by more than 50%. Those horse owners who are refusing to pay the higher rents found themselves locked out of the facility. Gibran Stout is the founder of the OC Vaulting, the only equestrian vaulting program in Orange County. She says the higher rent would mean the end of the program. She says she will remain committed to keeping equestrian opportunities in OC. Lisa Sabo boards several houses at the fairgrounds. She runs the nonprofit Changing Strides, which provides riding lessons for at-risk youth. She says fairground management is trying to force her and other equestrians out.
So many things this last 6 months using fear and intimidation and bullying to get us out of here. It just has not been fair. And they definitely have been bullying us.
The fairgrounds location is one of the few remaining public horse boarding facilities in Orange County. It leases about 140 stables to the public. Sabo says the equestrians still hope to negotiate with fair management and reach some kind of compromise. The OC Fairgrounds management declined our request for comment. Moving to sports, the health of a former NFL star is the big story today.
Sports reporter Ben Moscoso joins us with more on that story. Ben?
Thank you, Stephen and Kiara. Welcome to the Panther Sports Roundup. I'm Ben Moscoso, and we have all the details on an absolutely historic week in the world of sports. Breaking news today as Football Hall of Famer Brett Favre announced during a congressional hearing in Washington that he has been diagnosed with Parkinson's. The former quarterback has mentioned multiple times that he suffered several concussions during his career. Favre is the only player to win the NFL MVP award 3 years in a row. In NFL news, the Los Angeles Rams earned an impressive win over the San Francisco 49ers last Sunday after being down in points the entire game. Kyren Williams first put the Rams on the board with an impressive front flip into the end zone towards the end of the second quarter. The Rams then came back at the tail end of the game with 2 successful kicks from Joshua Carty and another touchdown by Williams to finally beat the 10-point lead that the 49ers had on them, securing their first win of the season. Last Sunday also saw the Los Angeles Chargers come up short against the Pittsburgh Steelers by 10 points, with the Steelers showing more consistency with touchdowns and kicks through the last 3 quarters. This marks the Chargers' first loss of the season. In Major League Baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers host the San Diego Padres tonight, just 5 days after Shohei Ohtani became the first player to ever have 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. Now the founder of the 50-50 club, Ohtani completed the achievement during the Dodgers game against the Miami Marlins last Thursday, helping the team win 20-4. The Dodgers also won 2-1 games against the Colorado Rockies this past weekend, with a total of 15 runs against the Rockies. They've scored 5 less runs throughout a whole weekend compared to their history-making game a few days prior. The Dodgers are set to face the Padres tonight at 7:10 Pacific. Topping up our sports roundup is the historic night in boxing this past weekend, with the Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois fight producing one of the biggest upsets in the sport. With Joshua coming in as the betting favorite, everything pointed to him beating Dubois to become the 3-time heavyweight champion. However, the main event took an unexpected turn, with Dubois knocking down Joshua 4 times through 4 rounds, having him wobbled worse than any other time in his career. Just as things looked promising in the 5th round, with Joshua landing a big right hand, Dubois caught him coming in hot with a dangerous right counter, knocking Joshua out cold for the first time ever and ending the fight. The betting underdog pulled off the spectacular win in front of 98,000 people in Wembley Stadium, making it England's largest boxing crowd to date. Despite facing the hardest loss of his career, Joshua states that he will continue boxing, with a rematch clause set against Dubois if he chooses to take it. That has been our Panther Sports Roundup. I'm Ben Moscoso, and I'll see you next week with the latest in the sports world. Kiara and Steven, back to you.
The Chapman University swim and dive team is adding a special member to its roster. Our own Zachary Richter was on the pool deck catching this special moment.
The Chapman swim and dive team is making waves in the community. The team is partnering with Team Impact, an organization that pairs children with chronic illnesses with the collegiate team. Swim and dive coach Juliet Seuss sees this as a way for the team to interact with people who have different identities.
Team Impact offers the team the opportunity to become more involved in community, to think more outside of themselves, and to really grow as people and to have this common shared experience.
Waleed Mushaik is excited to be part of the Panthers swim and dive team.
It feels good. I always wanted to be swimmers.
Waleed's mom, Lubna Abdallah, thinks the experience will help him in many ways.
So ultimately for him to be independent, to have that positive outlook, to have that good attitude, take on life, to take on college eventually, with a more positive and healthy outlook rather than to feel like, there's always a struggle.
It's true. Team members also get a lot out of the program.
And so I know that I wanted to be a collegiate athlete when I was in high school and everything. So not having that opportunity for Waleed and being able to give that to him, I think is the best thing in the world.
This is Zachary Richter reporting.
I'm Ingrid Lee.
The break, watch how a food influencer cooked up her online presence. Stay tuned.
We're Chapman News, and this is our newsroom.
We take on everyone. From on camera in the studio to behind the camera in the control room.
We're storytellers dedicated to providing you with the news that matters most here in Orange County.
We are here to inform you.
Got a story we should cover? We would love to hear from you.
At the center of it all, this is Chapman News, and we are here for you.
If you like to eat out, you probably want to know about the best reviewed restaurants or even new places to try. Social media can help with that.
That's right. Our feature reporter Ingrid Lee joins us live in studio to show us what it takes to be a food influencer. Ingrid?
Thanks, Stephen and Kiara. We know social media is all about making connections, and many influencers help connect users with local businesses and restaurants. But what does it take to be a food influencer? Well, here in SoCal, Iris Lee knows a little bit about that. With over 4,000 followers on Instagram, she showed me the secret recipe. Take a look.
Bake a cake with me at my new favorite baking studio located in Irvine. They had so many cute options, but I ended up choosing this black sesame cake.
For Iris Lee, what started as a hobby quickly turned into a passion, and along the way, she became part of a community.
The foodie world is a lot bigger than people think. So I think a lot of food influencers kind of start off by supporting other food influencers that are same size or similar to them.
But what people don't see on screen is the amount of work that comes with being an influencer.
It's important to be trendy, but at the same time, it's a lot of brain power to think of, but what do I like and how do I want to put my own personal swing on this? I think there's just a lot more nitty-gritty things that people don't really think about, because most people just think oh, this person is getting free food and is recording it.
And the success that comes with Lee's hard work is even sweeter.
I think in particular it's cool when I've been able to work with brands that I kind of grew up knowing. Last year I was able to do a collaboration with Pocky, and so I was able to kind of be a campus ambassador for that and kind of post about that, which is really cool because it's the kind of brands that you see in stores. I've been able to recently do a collaboration with Boiling Point, and they invited me out for their 20th anniversary.
Jellies and a gift card. Got straight into sauce making, super important. We got the food, got the house special as well as their beef. Tried their fermented tofu.
Places that I kind of see in the day-to-day. Those that reach out to me, I think I kind of feel a mini success internally.
You can discover Iris's next food destination by following her Instagram at Iris Lee Eats. I'm Ingrid Lee, reporting for Chapman News. Stephen and Kiara, back to you.
Thanks, Ingrid. That's it for this edition of Chapman News. I'm Stephen Hogenkamp. Be sure to follow us on social media at Chapman News.
And I'm Kiara Digavea. Thanks for watching. We'll hope you'll join us next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m.